The sea is dark, deep, deep beneath the waves. Strike that, it's black. Black as pitch. Light can only penetrate down to about 3,200 feet into the salty water, and even then, it's barely twilight. But here, nearly 2.5 miles below the surface, nothing. Just darkness, heavy and thick as a winter quilt. But slowly, through the black, a light emerges. It doesn't do much to truly illuminate the surroundings, but it's enough. There's treasure down here. A big, beautiful, historic treasure. And the darkness surrounding the little 3-man submersible won't be enough to deter the team from finding it. It's cramped inside. The little underwater vehicle is built for safety and exploration, not for a luxury ride. But still, the team pushes forward. They're on the scientific discovery mission of their lives, and the team is ready to face more than just a little bit of claustrophobia to complete their mission. Alongside the hum of the motor and scientific equipment, a radio crackles to life. Alvin, we recommend you turn... The pilot follows where the team on the research vessel above guides them. They continue passing through the dark water, forward, until something looms out of the darkness. A hulking, massive shape, slowly drawing nearer and nearer. It begins to take form, a massive black hull resting on the ocean floor like a dignified old ghost. Inside the submersible, a ripple of electric excitement passes between the men, and all of them can't help the smiles that come to their faces. They've found their treasure. They've found Titanic. I'm Christiana.
And I'm Bree.
Settle in and prepare to discover something incredible.
Because you're about to hear something strange.
Welcome to episode 23, The Discovery of Titanic.
Yay!
Yay!
Titanic part 325.
666. No. So, yeah, we're learning about the discovery of the Titanic today, guys, and then I will do my best to get off my Titanic soapbox. No promises. So, do you know anything about when the Titanic was discovered, how it was discovered?
I thought you were going to say when it was built. And I'm like, I know the answer to these.
You're like, we already covered this. Stop it.
I know it was discovered sometime after 1914.
Yes, correct.
I don't actually know. It was a submersible.
Yeah.
So we're looking in the last 40 years.
Yes. At this point, yes. Sorry, I had to calculate backwards.
1980s?
Yeah, you got it. So...
That was a guess in the dark.
It was perfect. You did great.
I am so excited that I got that right.
You did it. So I'll dive in here. The desires to raise the Titanic from its watery grave actually began shortly after the sinking, like really shortly after. The idea of rediscovering possessions from the ship also came to light because there were a lot of very rare and priceless items aboard. Just a couple to name here were a jewel-encrusted copy of the Persian poetry book, The Rubaiyat of Obar Khayyam.
Okay, I have a question.
Yes.
Wasn't there a true crime case in, like, Australia or something? And that was what was found on the person?
Oh, I don't know.
Am I, like, connecting dots where they don't exist?
I don't know. That sounds interesting, though. So there was the jewel-encrusted poetry book. Steinway pianos were on there, and a Renault CB Coupe, which is a car, to name a few.
The pianos would not be any good, though.
No, I know, but I think just the fact that they were, like, Steinways, it was, like, there was just a lot of, like, rare stuff on there.
You also probably, like, even if they weren't playable, like, the Steinway was on the Titanic, it would be, like...
A thing, like, the wow factor behind it,
yes.
The ooh-ah factor. The more wealthy family members of some of the victims in particular were interested in the idea of actually raising the ship. These family members actually did form a group to present a proposal to the Merritt and Chapman Derrick and Wrecking Company. That's a name.
That is a name.
That is a name. To raise the ship for the purpose of recovering possessions and returning bodies of the victims to their loved ones, which, like, I don't want to imagine the state that those bodies were in.
Side thought. So this would be pretty soon after the sinking, right?
Yeah, this was very shortly after the sinking.
How do I say this in a respectful way? Would the conditions of the water actually help preserve the bodies of the deceased because it's cold?
Maybe because it was cold. I know there's a process that happens that's called saponification, but I don't know if that would have happened in the Atlantic or not. I don't know enough about that. I actually kind of want to do an episode about that at some point if you guys want to hear about weird medical things that happen to a body after death.
That's a fun one.
It is. That's actually really interesting. Like, the coldness might have helped to preserve them a little bit, but also, like, I don't know if honestly, if a body, how deep it's capable of sinking after death, but, like, you get deep enough and the pressure is gonna, you're not gonna survive that. Like, a body is not gonna survive the pressures down there. Like, I'm trying to think of a polite way to say that.
Like, it would not, the human body is not made to withstand whether it is living or not. Do you remember, I don't know if this is true or not, like, the whole thing about if you go into space without a suit, like, your body will...
Yeah. Because the pressure on the outside is not as high as the pressure on the inside of the body, and the pressure wants to regulate. Same thing with when you go deep enough. Things will crush you. Sorry.
We read this horrifying book.
Ooh.
And I think it was, I don't know if it was AP English or not, or one of the other English classes I took in high school. And it's like people, they exited spaceships and died that way.
Ooh. Well, that's awful. I don't want to think about.
I didn't think about that till right now. It was not on the forefront until recently. So okay, sorry.
Sorry, I'm bringing that traumatizing image back up. But also the thought of just, like, sea creatures are out there and like, trying to identify those bodies. I imagine even if they could find any, would probably be pretty difficult. But the desire was there, and there was this coalition of people seemingly willing to foot the bill for the endeavor, because a lot of these people were very wealthy family members of wealthy passengers. So what was stopping it? Simply put, it was 1912. The technology was not there to raise the Titanic as much as a lot of people wanted there to be. This was the largest ship that had ever been built at this time, and it was under 13,000 feet of water. And due to these reasons, the Merritt and Chapman Derrick and Wrecking Company did decline the proposal to try and raise the wreck, but this didn't stop future attempts. So there were a lot of schemes.
When you say schemes, that makes me think that they were probably not the most kosher of ideas and things.
Not necessarily unkosher. We'll get there. It's not that they were I
can't think of a better word than kosher.
Yeah, they weren't, like, shady necessarily. Sketchy or anything, but just interesting.
Okay.
So Charles Smith, an architect out of Denver, proposed an idea in 1914. He wanted Titanic to sail again. Like, he wanted to put this boat back in the water and put it back into service.
That does not sound like a good idea.
No, sir. First, he wanted to find the wreck, but this was a problem for several reasons. Lack of technology. Again, we're going to be saying that a lot. Second, the last given position of the Titanic was actually incorrect. It was off by 13 miles. Therefore, there wasn't actually a good spot to even start looking. It was a huge space to start even attempting to find this wreck.
Needle in a
haystack.
There we go.
Time. Yep. However, Smith was not deterred. He figured once the Titanic was found, his plan continued. 7 men would pilot an electrically powered submarine that would be lowered down to the Titanic. The electricity would come from cables that led to a ship that would sit on the surface of the water. So they would essentially just run cables between the two boats, the submersible and the one on the top. Once above the Titanic, the 7 crewmen of the little submersible would direct electromagnets towards the Titanic's hull, and the magnets would then have an electric current passed through them to adhere to the hull. Then more magnets would be applied. Once the grip was strong enough, the ship would pull the submarine with Titanic attached to the surface, tow it to shallower waters where it could then rest on the ocean floor again, where it would be easier to get to, until it could be repaired.
This sounds like, do you know, like, the 2000s and 90s cartoons where, I am not saying this in a mean way, but you're like a mad scientist, would be like Kim Possible. Like, what was the...
Oh, Shigo and...
Oh.
Oh my gosh. He was a blue dude.
The blue dude, what was his name, though?
I see him clear as day in my head. What was his name? Listeners, help us.
It seems like one of...
Like, one of those plans. Yes, very much. It was very much a Kim Possible.
That's such a good show, too.
It was, honestly.
I will die on that hill. That was a good show. No one's going to argue with me about that, but I think...
I hope not. You're allowed to like what you like, but I agree. It was a great show. Once again, there's problems here. What am I going to say? That's right. The technology didn't exist.
They should have gotten the aliens to help.
They should have.
We are now the History Channel.
Aliens.
On this episode of Ancient Aliens.
Aliens.
Oh my god, sorry.
No, you're good. The fascination with raising the Titanic didn't fade, and other wilder and wilder plots were schemed out. Some of these ideas were using petroleum jelly-filled bags to float the ship.
Did that even work?
I don't know. I wasn't sure about that one. This is my personal favorite.
Oh, no.
Someone got the idea, we're going to fill the ship with ping pong balls. Because ping pong balls float. And it's just going to right up to the surface.
This reminds me of something so much, and I cannot for the life of you tell me what it is.
It's a mad scientist plot.
But it reminds me of, like, something is, like, ringing a bell in my head.
Mm-hmm. And it's just not coming.
I know.
Keep thinking on it.
I got a text at 3 o'clock this morning.
I personally love that. I think it's great. And the thing that I was reading said, never mind the fact that the ping pong, there's no way in this God's green earth that these ping pong balls are going to even survive the pressures down there. They'd get down so deep and they would just... Someone was like, we're going to fill it with ping pong balls.
How are they getting the ping pong balls?
To the ship that they can't find?
Yes.
Not a clue. Not a clue. Also, the sheer amount of ping pong balls to fill the Titanic. That's a lot of ping pong balls.
You know the questions of, like, how many buttons are in this jar?
Yes. Like, how many ping pong balls to... There's our poll question. All right, listeners, how many ping pong balls will it take to fill the Titanic? I want to look that up and see if anyone ever could figure that out, actually.
I'm sure someone can do math. It's not us.
It's not us.
But someone can do math.
I'm going to look this up. I'm going to try to research it.
This is like, you know what this is? This is like a Monty Python skit.
It is.
Like,
correct. They're like paddling out to the Titanic, and it's like a crank. They're like or not paddle boarding. What are where you sit and you pedal?
Oh yeah, those ones.
They're going out to the Titanic, and then they just dive deep. They're gonna do great. They're gonna do fine. They'll make it.
We need to bring back the flying circus.
Yes, absolutely.
Oh my gosh.
This was a fun segment to look into. This was very fun.
Does it get less fun or more fun?
I think more, personally.
Okay.
So, in 1977, another plan emerged with a gentleman by the name of Arthur Hickey. He believed the Titanic could float to the surface if it were encased in ice by use of liquid nitrogen. Hickey formed a team called the Titanic Salvage Company, who actually inquired into the cost of liquid nitrogen from the British Oxygen Company. What was possibly...
Can you imagine that phone call? Like, excuse me, sir. Can you please... This is a bad accent. Can you please give us some...
What are you talking about, mate?
Like, hold on a second. Nancy, come here. You're not gonna believe what these guys are asking.
You're not gonna believe what these blighters over in America are asking, you bloody Yanks.
They want... What?
They want what?
They want what? Nitrogen?
They want liquid nitrogen. For
drink.
what? They want to raise the Titanic. Bloody hell.
Sorry, British listener.
Oh, we just got cancelled in Britain. I'm so sorry, guys.
United Kingdom.
We love everyone. Sorry, we promise we're not making fun of you. We're making fun of ourselves. Speaking of, I'm working on a Scottish brogue right now.
That's the first accent I've done on the show.
That's true.
I can only sing in accents. I can't talk in them. You've heard me sing in accents.
I have. Anyways,
this
is Accents.
Welcome to Accents with Something Strange.
What was possibly even wilder was that the British Oxygen Company did think this plan was theoretically possible. They were like, this is a thought. It could potentially happen.
This is a thought.
But 500,000 tons of liquid nitrogen would be needed to do this. As well, to be able to supply that amount of liquid nitrogen, a floating plant would need to be built to liquefy the nitrogen and send it down to the Titanic. So they would literally have to, like, build a plant to float on the water above where Titanic is to get that amount of, like, because it would just be too much to try and take out there.
Did we get an estimate on this?
I don't believe so, because the plan kind of got the kibosh put on it there.
Well then.
So we're going to move on to Douglas Faulkner Woolley, who was another man determined to raise Titanic. He took personal interest in the Titanic due to two of his great aunts who were supposed to be aboard Titanic's maiden voyage, but they backed out due to frightening premonitions that they had claimed to have.
Man, that's interesting.
Yes, but supposedly their luggage was put on the ship, but they decided at the last minute, we're not going to get on. So
you can replace luggage, not people.
Exactly. He had Mr. Douglas Faulkner Woolley over here had many ideas throughout the 1960s to raise the infamous wreck, but one in particular was to use nylon balloons. And he actually did, I believe, if I remember correctly, work in a nylon factory at the time, which is probably what gave him the idea. He thought these balloons were meant to be attached to the ship, somehow inflated underwater, despite the fact that they would be under 13,000 feet of pressure. And then they would float the wreck back to the surface. And once again, problems. 10 years would be needed to generate enough gas to be able to even fill the balloons to the point where it would be possible for them to lift the ship from the seafloor. Not feasible. And there's one other fun fact about Woolley. I have to be a little careful here because as far as I'm aware, this man is still alive and I don't want to get sued. He believes he owns the Titanic.
Is there a reason for this belief? So why does this very kind gentleman believe that he owns the Titanic?
So he claimed that in the late 1960s, the British Board of Trade did give him rights to the ship, even though it hadn't yet been discovered. The U.S. had no jurisdiction over the ship because it was not an American ship, it was a British ship. Mm-hmm. He also claimed that the rights the White Star Line had to Titanic essentially became null and void once Cunard Ship Lines took over White Star Line. His thoughts were that when Cunard took over, White Star Line forfeited their rights to that ship.
So then I don't understand still.
Yeah.
Okay, there's more.
People did apparently fight with Woolley over his plans to raise Titanic due to it essentially being the tomb of many who had died. And Woolley's argument was that after 75 years, it was no longer a grave site.
That's not how grave sites work. It's not like copyright law.
Yeah. And it's like, I kind of get what he's saying is like, are there any bodies down there at that point? Probably not. But...
But why does he think he has the rights? Did he does he think it's
I don't know.
Free?
I
like,
honestly,
what's the word I want? Like, okay, going back to the copyright thing, is it like public domain now?
Yeah, I'm not really sure. I'm gonna be 100% honest with you.
I'm not being mean. I know. I'm trying to connect the dots, and I'm not.
Yeah, I know. I had a little bit of a hard time following it as well. Yeah.
Okay. Nope. That's me.
Also, side note here, I believe that if you want angry spirits haunting you for the rest of your life, that's how you get them, is saying that the ship that they died in is no longer their gravesite.
Can I do a little aside really quick?
Yes.
The more I talk about the school I went to,
mm-hmm.
the more I realize how weird it was.
Mm-hmm.
No shade to Fleetwood. I'll put that out there. I remember having this question, and I don't remember what class it was for. I don't remember what grade it was in, of like, would you raise the Titanic? And I argued no, because I am a weird person. Do you know what my argument was?
I want to know.
Guess why I said no, that you should not raise it.
You don't want to be attacked by angry people, angry dead people.
You don't want to disturb the ghosts. That was my reasoning. And the rest
Honestly,
of my teacher was like, what? Like, I thought this was middle school or early high school. That was my argument. I'm like, there's spirits down there. You don't want to disturb them.
Honestly, yeah. Like, I would. Like, this is another good question to ask people, too, is, like, would you raise Titanic? Personally, I would not. Because at this point, for one, I don't think it'd survive.
The pressure going back up.
Yeah. We'll actually learn a little more about that later. But for two, it's also, like, to me, that very much is, like, it's a tomb at this point. Even if there aren't physical remains there anymore, just leave it be. I don't think it's a good idea. Just don't touchy. No touchy. Don't do it.
don't, yeah, just leave it alone.
Despite the clear desire of many to want Titanic raised from the watery depths, the wreck remains at the bottom of the Atlantic. The cost would be absolutely astronomical to raise it. The engineering and equipment needed would be absolutely insane. Even with all the modern technological advances we have today, the undertaking would be extremely difficult. The ship is also, we were just saying, it's brittle, it's decaying. Trying to raise Titanic without causing damage to it would be nearly impossible. And finally, despite what Wooly may believe, and you have rights to your opinion, many are still of the belief that disturbing this site would be disrespectful to those who lost their lives in there. And I will be honest, I live in that camp. Again, everyone is welcome to their own opinions. That's okay.
I had a whole argument about it in middle school or something, so I agree with you.
Yes. Even though the ideas to raise Titanic never panned out, the search to find the missing wreck never stopped, and the year of 1985 was finally the year that the wreck site would be found. Many people know the name Robert Ballard, and Dr. Robert Ballard, excuse me.
Doctor, yeah, don't want to forget that. He did
Yes.
all that hard work to get that PhD.
And he seems really cool. I'm just going to put it out there right now.
PhD, MD. What kind of doctor is he? A Titanic doctor.
A Titanic doctor, yeah. He's going to go down there and fix it. No. See, taking its heartbeat. Many people know the name Dr. Robert Ballard and recognize him as the man to have discovered Titanic. However, he wasn't alone. It was a team effort. 2 research teams were involved. The first team, Woods Hole Oceanographic Institution, aka WHOI, is a research institution in Woods Hole, Massachusetts. And fun fact, I've actually been there to Woods Hole. I didn't get the chance to explore very much. I didn't actually realize on my trip when I was there that that was the area that Dr. Ballard worked out of. And I found out when I was there, I was like, oh, I wish I had planned more time here because I would absolutely go exploring. But the reason I was there was to get on the ferry to go to Martha's Vineyard with my friend. So we weren't there for very long. Fun fact, that's if you go to Massachusetts and you want to go to Martha's Vineyard, Woods Hole is one of the ferry sites that you can take. So the Woods Hole Oceanographic Institution team was led by Dr. Ballard. And the second team involved was the French National Institute of Oceanography, aka IFREMER, from Toulon, I believe is how you pronounce that, France. This team was led by Jean-Louise Michel.
I don't do French.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, guys.
Jean-Louise Michel?
Michelle?
Michel? I don't do French.
I'm sorry. The 2 ships involved in the search for Titanic, the Nor and the Le Sirat.
That's a nice name. I don't know what it means, but it sounds nice.
Yes. There were also 2 new underwater vehicles used in the search for Titanic, known as Argo and SAR. SAR's full name is Système Acoustique Remorque. I'm just going to call it SAR because as we've already stated, my co-host and I are not great at French. I'm really sorry if there's anyone listening from France. The U.S. Office of Naval Technology funded the mission in order to test the brand new underwater imaging systems. So the main reason for this mission wasn't actually to find Titanic, it was to test these new underwater vehicles. The goal was to be able to find things on the ocean floor, and finding Titanic gave a really cool setting for this project, essentially. So to be clear, finding Titanic wasn't the main point of this mission, like I just said.
But were they, hoping to find it, or was it?
Yeah, they were, actively searching in the area, but the Titanic kind of gave the background for it. It kind of was like, oh, well, the main purpose of this mission is to test this equipment. We might as well test it in the area of the Titanic that we know that we can, test that X amount of square footage to try and find it. At least that's what I understood from the research that I got. If that's slightly incorrect, I apologize. Please correct me. Based on thorough research of the Titanic, her history, and research on former search efforts, the team leaders were able to narrow the area of search to 100 square miles. The journey to find Titanic came about in 2 different phases. The French team began phase 1 on the first day of July 1985, when they began their journey aboard their ship, Le Sirat, and put SAR into use. A little more about SAR here. SAR is a sonar system capable of creating quote-unquote black and white shadow graphs of the seafloor. It was the most sophisticated sonar imaging system of its time, And team leader Jean-Louis Michel actually built SAR himself.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, really cool. Using this machine, the team swept the ocean floor in a back and forth pattern in their dedicated search area. It was described as like mowing the lawn, so just back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. The team aboard Le Surete stayed at sea for 31 days. Unfortunately, they did not discover Titanic herself. However, they were still highly successful in narrowing the search field. By the time the team was done, they had succeeded in covering 75% of the area, giving Dr. Ballard's team a much smaller area to have to search. So they did a lot in like narrowing down the field, which is, you know, even if they didn't necessarily find anything, that's still a huge accomplishment.
Mm-hmm.
Phase 2 started with the American team as well as 3 scientists from the French team on August 15th, 1985. They began their 19-day cruise from Ponta Delgada on the ship to the Nore. And for reference, Ponta Delgada is located on the São Miguel Island, and it's the capital of the Azores Archipelago of Portugal per Google Maps, because I was trying to figure out where exactly this place was. By August 22nd, the Nore had reached where the French team concluded their part of the search. Ballard's team took a slightly different approach to scouring the ocean floor. They decided to search for the wreck's debris field rather than the ship herself. And they used 2 different pieces of underwater equipment for their search. ANGUS, which stands for Acoustically Navigated Geological Underwater Survey, and ARGO, which captured sonar and video. A little more about ANGUS. ANGUS could work at depths as deep as 20,000 feet and contained multiple camera systems for underwater photographs. It also contained a temperature measuring system and sonar designed to show how high above the ocean floor it was traveling.
Oh.
So it was kind of tugged along, and it would just kind of drift along the floor. And a little more about Argo. Argo was named by Robert Ballard after the vessel in Greek mythology that carried Jason on the quest for the Golden Fleece.
I was going to ask if that was a reference to that. Okay.
Yep.
The Argonauts.
The Argonauts. It was an unmanned system, which means it was tethered to a boat and towed and could reach 50 to 100 feet above the ocean floor. Like Angus, Argo could be operated as deep as 20,000 feet, and its capabilities included taking wide-angle film and television pictures and being able to zoom in when more detailed views were necessary. So, eventually, debris were found, and using these debris, the team kind of breadcrumbed their way along until they found what they were searching for. On September 1st, just after 1 a.m., which is just under an hour and a half before the Titanic would have sunk 73 years previous, one of Titanic's massive boilers was identified underneath over 12,400 feet of water.
That is so, like...
eerie.
Yeah, it gives me, like...
Yeah.
chills.
Yes, in like a good way.
Yeah,
like,
it's like almost...
It's melancholy, but it's...
almost like a meant-to-be thing. It's like...
yeah.
like, not a coincidence.
The universe put that into motion.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't... the only thing that would have made it crazier is if it was in April, because it was in September and the ship sank in April, but still, like, almost, like, it's... ugh. The universe did that.
That is, yeah.
It's crazy. Per Google Converter, the 12,400 feet of water is roughly 2.35 miles below the surface. So, real deep.
Yeah.
For the next 4 days, the team used Argo and Angus to film and photograph the wreck before they had to conclude their time at sea. They collected a lot of information at this time about the Titanic in her current condition. She was, of course, broken in half. Her front half was located about 600 feet away from her back half, and the funnels were not present at the wreck site. I tried to do a little bit of research as to where the funnels were, and I didn't get anything from... like, I found a couple little things on, like, forums and whatnot. I didn't actually include any of that in my works cited. I get the idea that they might have kind of just imploded on impact.
Okay. I mean, that makes sense, though.
Right. Naturally, the discovery of Titanic was cause for huge celebration among the research teams, but as well as worldwide, because this was major in the scientific community. The Nore was met with a huge welcome by thousands of people on its return to Woods Hole on September 9th, 1985. I couldn't find exactly when this happened, but some of those who'd been aboard Noor for the discovery actually did hold a small memorial service for the casualties of the sinking.
Oh.
Yeah, I thought that was really nice. Yeah. Robert, and this hit me. Robert Ballard said in an interview found in the documentary Titanic, The Nightmare and the Dream, that after finding the wreck, he wouldn't talk about it for at least 4 months. And I have the quote here that I took from that documentary. When we came back, I wouldn't talk about the Titanic for 4 months. I just wouldn't talk about it with anybody. I just went and hid because it was just very hard. I don't know why. I haven't the foggiest notion why, other than you felt it. You felt the disaster. You felt the loss of life. Which I was like, ooh.
So he took this very, very seriously.
Yes. He seems... I want to call this particular documentary out. You can find it on YouTube. That's where I accessed it. It's called Titanic, The Nightmare and the Dream. That's where I pulled a lot of the information, especially for this part 2, kind of of this episode that I'm going to go into here shortly.
I was like, this is part 3.
Yeah, no, this like the kind of the second half of this episode is mostly pulled from that documentary. Okay. There's a lot of clips of him, and this was filmed, I believe, like shortly after the second trip to the Titanic that the team took. And there were a lot of interviews with Dr. Ballard himself. There were clips of the crew like on the ship and images, a lot of images that they pulled on this second. That was really good. I really recommend this documentary. But Dr. Ballard seems cool. Like, he really took it seriously. He was very much a scientist about it, but he was also a human about it. Okay. Like, he seems like a really... I love it. Anyway.
Stand up guy.
Stand up gentleman. Dr. Robert Ballard, if you're listening, hello, I love you. So as I indicated, we're going to kind of go into part 2 of this episode, which is the 1986 return to the Titanic. In 1986, Dr. Robert Ballard took a second trip to Titanic in the summertime. They used the vessel, the Atlantis II, for this cruise. And the main purpose of this trip was to test another deep-sea piece of equipment called Jason that was meant to work in conjunction with Argo.
Like, named after, like, the Archive.
Yes. Yeah. And Jason was actually meant to be, like, carried different places by Argo, too. So the purpose of Jason was actually to ride on Argo to get to different places. So it was very much a conjunction. Yeah. It's fun.
I love that. I love mythology. It's a nice little...
Yes. Scientists are fun.
They are. They're nerds, too.
Yes. On this journey, Ballard's team also used another piece of equipment, a human-operated vehicle, or HOV, called Alvin. A little more about Alvin. Alvin was a 3-person submersible, that could withstand the heavy pressures of the ocean and had already completed many dives capable of taking a pilot along with 2 scientists to see Titanic in person. Alvin's first trip down to Titanic was its 1,705th dive.
Holy cow.
So this thing was working for a living.
All the bugs were probably already worked out of that dude.
Yes. At maximum depth, it took Alvin 2 hours to submerge and 2 hours to resurface, which would give the team aboard 4 hours of exploration. Alvin contained 4 cameras on its exterior, as well as 2 mechanical arms that could be used to pick things up and collect samples, as well as a sample basket to carry equipment. Another piece of equipment that was used was called JJ, or Jason Jr., an underwater robot that would also be going down with Alvin to test its capabilities. A cable connecting JJ to Alvin would control it, allowing it to take video and photos, as well as to actually enter the Titanic to take internal footage of the ship.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah. And in this documentary, guys, seriously, go watch this documentary. You can find it on YouTube. It's really good. You can see video footage of JJ, like, zipping around and exploring, and he's really cute. It's really cute. I know that's weird.
I'll have to look this up then, because it sounds interesting.
I really recommend it. I think it was great. But Ballard and his team once again left Woods Hole for Titanic on July 9th, 1986. They reached Titanic's location on July 12th, 1986. And from there, the team began daily dives into the depths to explore and learn more about Titanic, as well as putting their robot, JJ, through its paces. In order to give the team plenty of time to film the entire wreck site, a total of 12 dives were planned. It was a tight fit inside Alvin. The space was only 6 feet in diameter and was shared by 3 grown men and all the necessary equipment to explore and collect data.
Man, you gotta get cozy.
Yeah, he was tight down there. A team aboard the Atlantis II kept contact with Alvin in order to guide the submersible to its destination. To clarify that a little bit, Atlantis II was... They had dropped, I forget what they're called, some, like, basically something that could contact a satellite to be able to guide the pilot, and then Atlantis would be radioing down to them, being like, you need to turn your submersible like X degrees to whatever side to, like, basically they weren't able to guide themselves down there. They needed the team aboard the ship to do that. Sorry, I was a little confused when I was watching the documentary, and I wanted to clarify that. The first couple dives didn't go completely smoothly, however. The team encountered some issues with their equipment. Alvin's sonar went out, and the equipment on Atlantis II that was supposed to be helping the team to guide the submersible started to malfunction. I think the direct quote from the documentary was, "It developed a mind of its own."
Oh,
yeah. So... terrifying.
Oh my goodness.
This caused the team to not be able to accurately guide Alvin to the Titanic wreck. Thankfully, despite these malfunctions, Alvin did eventually reach Titanic. They did find it. However, it returned to the surface much sooner than expected. Turned out one of the battery packs aboard Alvin developed a ground, and from what I understand, it essentially fused to the battery case, and the repair had to be done at sea.
Oh, that doesn't sound good at all.
Yeah, so... major equipment malfunction.
Man, they're lucky it made it back up.
Yeah, that could have been, I imagine that could have been. I don't know a lot about electricity, but things developing in the ground don't sound good. So they came to the surface, they had to do this repair at sea to be able to continue with Alvin, but the footage that they were able to get on that dive was really, really good. It was fantastic.
Okay.
Unfortunately, another problem developed after a different dive in which rough waters... So JJ, the little robot, sat in a cage that was on the outside of Alvin.
Like they put him in a cage.
They put him in a cage to get him up and down.
Oh.
But
he wasn't in, like, robot jail.
No, he wasn't in robot jail. It was to get him up and down. So he was attached to Alvin. But they hit rough waters, really choppy rough waters when they hit the surface, and it got ripped out of the cage.
Oh, no.
And they had to do, like, a water rescue.
Did they rescue him?
They did. They were able to catch him. They didn't specify, like, what different repair. They mentioned having to do repairs on him once they got him back. But he was used for the rest of the trip. So he was repaired to the point where he was safe to go down again.
Good. Is it possible that the Titanic just doesn't want to be seen by living humans?
Honestly, maybe.
That's just kind of what it feels like to me.
The spirits were like, whoa. Like, we don't want that.
The spirits from 1912 were like, what is that?
They were like,
what?
I feel like JJ appealed to their charm. He charmed his way into their hearts because he's really cute.
I'm getting, like, Wall-E vibes.
He does.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know why I have a weird love obsession with this robot. It's a little unhealthy.
we should I'll get you
a JJ shirt.
I was gonna say, like, I should get you, like, a framed picture.
Yes, of
for
JJ.
Whatever the next holiday is. Halloween.
Yeah.
We should exchange Halloween presents.
Honestly, I'm so down for that. So while I'm going to move away from the issues that the team was having for a moment to focus on another piece of equipment that was used during this expedition. And we're already familiar with this piece of equipment.
Oh my goodness, it is cute.
Isn't he adorable?
He is adorable. Oh my goodness. Oh yes, we need I'm gonna
his little propellers are adorable.
I'm gonna frame him somehow for you.
Seeing him in action. Oh, please do. Maybe I can have Dr. Ballard sign it for me someday. That would be amazing. I'd be delighted.
He'd be like, yes.
Yes, I will sign this.
Come on the show. We'll ask you about...
We're going to get there, friends. Put a pin in that.
Do you know who I want to have on the show now? Take 3 guesses. Think of the announcement.
Oh my God, I almost said Patrick Star.
You're so close.
Patrick
You're so close. There we go.
I'm so sorry, Patrick. I mean, unless you like SpongeBob and you're delighted to be compared to Patrick Star, in which case you're welcome.
I was like, that would be fun, because then we could talk about Fall Out Boy, and we
Yes.
could talk about Has Been Hotel.
And Fall Out Boy and Tasman Hotel, both respectively, could be their own Something Strange episodes.
You know what my favorite pieces of media is?
Mm-hmm.
The Drunk History of Fall Out Boy by Brendan Urie.
Oh my God.
Did you ever watch that?
Yes, you sent it to me.
My favorite part
It's
was like...
so funny. Oh, I love it. I love it. All right.
Okay, back
to Angus.
No more thinking about Fall Out Boy for the next 30 minutes.
It's all good. It's all good.
Is this more than you bargained for?
A little bit. Sorry, guys.
Sorry.
We all know I'm obsessed with Titanic at this point. Another piece of equipment that is familiar to us that was being used was Angus. He came back.
Yay!
And Angus was the only piece of underwater equipment used in both the 1985 and 1986 expeditions, which was I thought was kind of cool.
By the time the second one happened, he was like, guys, other robots.
I have to go.
I got this.
I got this. Go away.
He's like the senior robot leader.
He was. And the purpose of Angus during this mission was to take still photos of the wreck, which they took a lot of. So the first area of focus, after they got through some of these equipment malfunctions and whatnot, things started to go a little smoother. The first area of focus was on the bow section of the ship, so the front section, where Dr. Ballard and his team located a couple areas where it'd be safe to actually land Alvin. And this included the bridge area and the starboard upper boat deck. And from these landing sites, the team was able to navigate JJ around to take close-up footage. So they kind of sat still and let JJ out on a leash, if you will, and let him kind of zip around and check things out. JJ was able to navigate where the team themselves, of course, could not go. He peered through windows, and he actually managed to get into the hull of the ship to take inside footage. One of the most exciting things that JJ did on one of these dives was to enter the ship via a very large hole in the upper deck, located between where two of the funnels would have stood. The hole was the entrance to the famous grand staircase.
Ooh.
And the hole at the top of the deck was where the large glass dome that covered the staircase would have sat. Mm-hmm. Of course, that wouldn't have survived down there.
Boom, from the pressure.
Yeah. Honestly, I wonder even like the torsion and whatnot going down could have even... It's crazy because I think there are some windows that might still be intact.
That's wild.
Yeah, like based on... I don't know if they are anymore because this documentary where I was seeing the images and whatnot was filmed in like 86, 87, something like that. I think it was 86.
Huh.
And it's crazy what survived and what didn't.
It's just kind of random?
Yeah, okay. Almost it seems. So, JJ floated down the grand staircase, essentially, or at least where it would have been.
How cool.
Yeah. And it gave the team a really good opportunity to explore the different decks of the ship from the inside, and also gave them a really good look at how the interior survived underwater for 70 years. Unfortunately, not well. Most of the wood had been eaten away. There were large protrusions that Dr. Ballard dubbed rusticles that hung from the metal pieces of the ship.
What does that mean?
They're essentially kind of look like metal stalactites in a way. And I imagine they're formed in a similar way.
Okay.
They're composed of disintegrating and corroded metals.
Okay.
So it literally looks like these giant finger-like protrusions that just kind of hang down from...
Okay.
It's creepy looking.
I think I've seen pictures of this. Sorry, guys. Yeah. I'm running on about 4.5 hours of sleep, so my brain is like a couple paces behind.
We're getting there. It's
it.
All good. We're doing the thing.
The thing.
Miraculously, though, some of the fine details of the ship were in remarkably good shape.
Huh.
Like, one of the things they saw was, like, a light fixture hanging, like a big chandelier hanging out of the ceiling that JJ kind of floated past. And it was, like, again, it was remarkably good shape. So after completing their dives, exploring the Titanic's bow, the research team focus turned to the debris field and the stern of the ship. They found specific areas they wanted to explore in the debris field thanks to the photos collected by Angus. And the debris field was, of course, covered in amazing artifacts. Mm-hmm. The team did not take anything back to the surface. The stern's exploration proved to be much less fruitful as it was in considerably worse shape than the bow. But these dives also allowed the team to untangle some of the mysteries surrounding the sinking. One of these was the damage caused to the hull of the ship by the iceberg, rather than discovering one giant gash that had let a bunch of water seep in. They found damage such as like popped rivets, buckled steel, and like small cracks that would have allowed the water into the ship.
Okay.
So it was much different than I think people had believed up to that point.
Mm-hmm.
By the end of the dives, the team had collected hours of video footage and thousands of photographs to document the incredible wreck. And the team also left a plaque on the ship's deck imploring any other explorers to please just leave the ship in peace.
How, like, did they, like, bolt it down, or, like...
The pressure down there would have just kind of kept it in place.
Okay.
So after these explorations, Argo continued to help with many other oceanographic discoveries, including finding the sunken World War II German battleship, the Bismarck, in 1989, before it was retired in the 90s. Angus was retired in the late 1980s. The Nor research vessel, as far as I can tell, is actually still in use today, as is Alvin. And sweet JJ was sadly lost at sea in 1991, which makes me so sad.
That is very sad.
It is.
He's like down there on the ocean floor somewhere.
Yeah.
Maybe he made his way back to Titanic.
I hope he did. Honestly, I really hope he did. It was aboard a barge that was carrying it along with other equipment to the Galapagos Islands for an exploration when the barge sank.
Oh, no.
So, yeah, which
That's sad.
made me much sadder than it should have when I found out.
We have a new mascot.
We do. It's JJ.
JJ.
It's JJ the robot.
Oh.
So that is my coverage of the 2 missions to discover and then explore Titanic. And I hope you guys enjoyed it.
That was a very nice little journey.
Thank you. This was a fun one. I thought it was uplifting more so than some of the episodes we've covered recently. And it's just fun scientific discovery.
I really
what a cool thing to just be like, this is my scientific mission. I'm going to go discover Titanic. Oh, how cool.
I liked the ping pong balls one.
Same. That's what I said. That's my favorite fun scheme to raise the Titanic.
Do you ever see like the pictures of what like people thought the world would look like now from like the turn of the century, from like the 1900s? And that's kind of how I imagine someone drawing that out.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Do I have closing thoughts? My brain is so fried. It really seems like the Titanic does not want living humans down there.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if that's just me being the, like, paranormal person I am, but it seems like...
No, I get that way, too, a little bit. I know what you're saying.
Like, it almost feels... Because, like, did the actual people ever make it down?
On... What do you mean? Sorry.
Remind me. And any of the manned vessels.
So, besides Alvin, you mean?
Alvin had people on it.
Yes, Alvin
made it down.
Yep, Alvin had a pilot, and Dr. Ballard and another scientist went down.
I also would say, though, like, their reasoning, and this is just, like, me talking into the void, their reasoning for going down was... They seemed very, very respectful, and I wonder if that, like, okay, let's just go on a little tangent here because my brain is tired. Like, I do think there is something with respect when it comes to places like this. Like, I mean,
I agree.
We've said before we're both fairly close to Gettysburg, right? Physically, and I do think places where big events like this have happened, like so many people died in the Titanic, and I do think the way I like ghosts as much as the next person, but I really feel like it's a disservice when ghost tours are done in a way that is more about profit and what's the word I want? Like,
sensationalism.
Yeah, or even that it's like they're almost taking advantage of the fact that people died for a ghost tour.
Yeah.
As opposed to when like anything in that realm is done out of respect.
Right. Yes, I agree.
Does that make sense? And
Absolutely.
I almost feel like Titanic's very much like that, where like people died, pretty horrific.
It was brutal.
Yeah. And it's like, okay, what's your reasoning for wanting to go down there, and are you doing it respectfully? And I think,
like, are you treating it like a tourist, or are you treating it like a person who is trying to understand the history and truly trying to bring back knowledge?
Yeah, and it seemed like they even put the plaque down there of like, hey, like, leave this alone.
Yeah. And I don't want to like give too much of the documentary away because I really want you guys to like go watch it.
This is your homework.
This is your homework. Please go watch this documentary. Dr. Ballard mentioned in the exploring the debris field, he wanted to see where the wine bottles were, because there were wine bottles down there from Titanic, and he collects wines, and he even said in the documentary to have a wine bottle from the Titanic would be incredible, and they had ability to take one up to the surface with them. And he was like, am I going to do it? I don't think so. And they didn't take anything. Now, there have been other explorations that have gone down there. I didn't get too far. I was going to go into this, and then I decided not to, because again, I thought I was getting a little bit too into the weeds, and we're in part 3. So there is another group, RMS Titanic Inc., I believe, that has taken journeys down to Titanic, and they are the group that has collected a lot of the artifacts, because we do have artifacts from Titanic.
Yes.
They have collected that, but I feel like I want to do a little more research into them because I think it's interesting. But I think they're as well kind of taking these artifacts up as historians versus just souvenir collecting, if that makes sense.
No, that does. And that makes, I mean, that's a whole,
That's a whole topic in itself.
That's a whole topic. Do you have any other closing thoughts?
I have a question for you then, but I can ask it at the end if you would like.
End or after?
After questions.
Okay. All right. What drew you to this topic?
So my fascination with Titanic has definitely grown in doing my research about the ship and its infamous maiden voyage. I started this journey, if you will, genuinely kind of thinking the Titanic was cursed, and I don't necessarily feel that way anymore.
Okay.
Yeah. I do believe certain things happened in unfortunate ways, and I do believe, what we were just talking about of I don't want to stir anything up. And
I also think it's a respect thing, too.
Yes, I want to be respectful of the people that passed and of the ship herself. But I wanted to get into the minds of the men who discovered her after 70 years of being at the bottom of the ocean, because I can't imagine how cool that had to have felt. And I wanted to learn just more about more of the positivity of it, because so much of the darkness, understandably so, is focused on. So I wanted to change gears a little bit.
This is the lightest of the Titanic episodes you've done.
Sure is.
Was there anything you wished you could have researched more into?
Again, I say potentially into the other dives that the other teams have taken. I will say this, I'm not going to do about the Titan disaster, because that is like a phobia of mine. I don't like that. Either way, I don't want to do the Titan disaster, because the idea of being trapped in a box underwater stresses me out. Like, that is an actual phobia of mine.
Fair enough.
So I won't do that. But the other journeys to that the other groups have taken, I'm curious to see what they found.
What did you find the most strange about this topic?
It's not necessarily strange, but it surprised me that the discovery of the Titanic wasn't actually the mission of itself. Like, it wasn't the mission to discover it. It was the mission. The main reason the mission was funded was to test the equipment.
Yeah.
And that's so that's cool.
What an exciting side quest.
Yeah, truly. But also that people thought it was, also that someone decided it would be a good idea to fill the Titanic with ping pong balls. Never forget. And this, I apologize, because this was a spur of the moment, this could be fun to ask on the pod.
I love how you can do that without writing it down, because once it has entered my brain, it has to get written down, otherwise it doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah. Okay. So my question to you, would you go see it if you had the chance? Would you go down to see Titanic?
No.
She says absolutely not.
For a couple of reasons.
Yeah.
I don't want... being in the little box, the little metal box, I'm not super claustrophobic, but I don't even like elevators.
Yeah.
And this is like an ocean elevator.
That's true.
And yeah. I'm not about that.
No, that's totally fair. It's a not from me, dog.
Now that I never thought about the fact that, I've never super liked submarines. I've gone on tours with submarines, but they've always made me kind of uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And I think it's just more of the fact that, you're stuck.
Yeah.
If something happens, you are.
You're down there.
You're SOL.
Yep. That is the same thing for me. That's why I don't like submarines. I also watched a movie in social studies in high school that happened to, it was an Irish submarine crew that happened to. And they all essentially drowned in a submarine because it got stuck underwater and they couldn't get out. And I was traumatized. I was like, no.
Do you know what kind of lives rent-free in my head? It's not a submarine, but when I think of being stuck underwater. Mm-hmm. So, you know about Pearl Harbor.
Yeah.
Okay. So was it the Arizona that, like, the men were stuck and you could hear them banging on the, but no one could get to them?
Yeah.
And they,
for like days afterwards.
Yeah. Yeah, and you could hear them, like, for, like, that gets,
like,
just the idea of that, like, because you know you're gonna die.
That's what it is for me. It's just sitting there knowing I'm not getting out of this, and you just have to sit and wait
until you run out of air,
until you drown. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, that is just, like, I can't even fathom what you would do.
The terror. Like, I can't.
Like, would there still be some hope, or would it be like,
yeah, no thank you. But
that's how afraid of that I was until this moment. But
yeah, I won't watch the movie Pearl Harbor. And I'm a World War II buff. Y'all know this about me by now. I won't watch that movie because the scenes that it's a well done.
It is a well done movie.
Won't watch it because of those scenes. I can't handle it.
I think I've only watched that once. When we were in San Diego, we went on the USS Midway. The ship was named after the Battle of Midway. Like, the ship was not at the Battle of Midway.
Right.
They showed a video, and there was, like, narration from, like, one of the only survivors of, I can't remember which plane, like, the squadron. The torpedo squadron or something.
Okay.
I don't remember. And, like, he was the only survivor. Him talking about, like, I can't.
It makes you shiver. Like, just the thought that someone went through that.
It's one thing to know it, and it's another thing to hear the account from someone who actually survived it.
Right there. Yep. Absolutely.
Like, it was cool to look at the rest of the ship, but, like, that was the part that stood out the most
just
to me.
Stuck with you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
that was a fun place.
That was a fun place we went. I will say, and I 100% agree with you, I do not like submarines. I don't particularly like I like to swim. I don't particularly like deep water. At this point, if I got offered the opportunity to do it safely, you'd have to drug the hell out of me. But I think I would go down and see it. I think I'd almost... Just because, like, I've, like, again, doing so much of this research and whatnot, has really genuinely changed more so how I feel about this ship, and I have so much respect for her and so much respect for the story and fascination for it, that if the opportunity were to drop into my lap to be like, do you want to go down in, like, a research vessel and just be a part of, like, the crew, I'd be like, oh, I don't think I could say no to it. I might be terrified the whole time, but I think I would have to.
I'll wait for you on the surface.
That's fine.
What kind of music do you think people listen like my brain went to the Beatles song Yellow Submarine. That's right where it
that makes me think of the Manson family.
Oh my god. It's the lack of sleep.
It's okay. Sorry.
But it's
like, what music would I listen to down there?
Like, on the way down, like, I'm one of those people that, like, so I horseback ride, listen to music.
Oh yeah.
And certain songs come up and I'm like, nope. Like, it'll be things like, Sugar, We're Going Down is not a song I'd ride a horse to. Like, no, we are not.
Absolutely not.
But there's other songs where it's, like, just talking about, like, even, like, romantic falling in love and stuff. And I'm like, nope, we are not falling.
Absolutely not.
We are not doing that. We're not going to even say that word. There's going to be no word down.
Listening to Sugar, We're Going Down, no. Lost by Linkin Park, absolutely not. Let's see. What else?
Pompeii.
I feel like I would have to just listen to, like, KT Tunstall or something. Just something
hotel soundtrack.
Yes. Something, like, so soothing, or something that I could, like, belt along with to just pretend that I'm not thousands of feet underwater.
Just stayed gone for, like...
That one's off the list.
But then you could get Vox's part. You could just go over it again and again and again.
That's true.
That's hard.
It is hard.
I can do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've been working at it.
I have. That's.
I support it. I love it.
I have problems, but like there's certain music you'd be like, nope.
Yeah. Nope. KT Tunstall. She has a song called Silent Sea that I would be skipping.
What's a good submarine playlist?
Honestly, now I'm
no
stuck
songs about death.
No songs about death. Now I'm stuck on KT Tunstall.
Mm-hmm.
She has a song called Other Side of the World that I feel like is a good playlist.
Song?
Yeah, I actually have the lyrics to that song right
wonder.
there.
I can kind of see that.
I got that at her concert and it was very fun. KT Tunstall, come on the podcast. I love
While we're calling out people, Dan Smith from Bastille, come on the podcast.
Yes, Dan Smith, come on the podcast. KT Tunstall, Blake Roman, Amir Salai, Vivzy Pop. Patrick Stump.
Yep.
All of you.
Anyone else?
we're calling you out. Actually, yes. So this was something I said, put a pin in that earlier.
Good thing you remember these things.
I do, and listeners, tell me if you would be interested in this. I think it would be really cool. After doing the research into finding Titanic, I decided that I would like to write Dr. Ballard a letter.
Oh yeah, him.
And yes, and see if he would come on and chat with us. Yeah, do like, and I know, but I would love for him to come on and just, if he's willing, just chat about his experience and like what it was like to be down there with the ship and exploring. Cool. And I think that'd be really cool.
We can all mourn JJ together.
We can. I'm so sad about little JJ. But listeners, friends, if friends, strangers, listeners, all of you people out there, if you think that would be cool, let me know, because I mean, if you think you would absolutely hate it, I'll probably still write him a letter and just be like, look, I really admire you, but I won't invite him on the podcast. We were like, we are done with Titanic. We don't want to hear any more about it.
The year is 2052.
We're on part
369 of the Titanic.
I love it. I'm fascinated by it. I really, really am. I've discovered a new love.
And then in the next episode, we'll be interviewing the fish.
The fish. I'll go diving for JJ. I'll be like, I'm bringing you back. I love you.
Gosh, that went somewhere.
That did.
All right, so moving on from that, we'd love to hear from you. If you have a suggestion for a strange or mysterious topic, a comment about an episode, or just want to chat, please reach out.
You can listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Audible, and YouTube. Comment directly on episodes on Spotify and YouTube, or leave a review of the podcast as a whole on either Spotify or Apple Podcasts.
Find us on Instagram at something_strangepod, on Facebook at Something Strange Podcast, subscribe to our YouTube channel at something_strangepod, and check out our strange content over at TikTok at somethingstrangepod01.
You can also send us a Gmail at somethingstrangepod24@gmail.com, and the 24 is numeric. Well, strangers, it's time for us to part ways.
Until we meet again, never stop trying to discover and explore.
We'll be back again soon with another Something Strange.
I have like freaking Sugar Gone Down stuck in my head now.
That's what the Titanic was singing.
Oh my God, I'm going to hell. Is this more than you bargained for yet?
We're going down.
In an earlier round, and sugar, we're going down. Do you know what I think of now because of the Titanic? Do you know like the "What a Time to Be Alive" song? You know what I'm talking about?
I think so.
Everything is lit except my serotonin. Well, what's that part? You know, it's like the view is so pretty from the depth of a sinking ship.